Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by Full Sail University.
Today on Variant, I'm giving you guys the history of Superman, and I'm sitting on a stool. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than I want Batman, the animated series, to be released on Blu-ray. I'm your host, Arris Quinones. Now, you guys may be asking yourself, Arris, why are you sitting on a stool today? Well, as it turns out, a 25-pound dumbbell and my foot don't mix very well, so it's kind of making it hard for me to stand, so stool. As I said in the title, though, I'm going to be telling you all about Superman from his origin all the way to what he's up to now in DC's New 52. Superman is actually one of the three most known superheroes in the world, the other two being Batman and Spider-Man. With that said, though, let's get some Superman knowledge a-flowing. Now let's start from the very beginning, before superhero comics even existed, let alone DC and Marvel Comics even being around. Superman was created from the brilliant minds of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, who were just high school students at the time. Although, when Siegel and Shuster first thought up of Superman, he wasn't the Superman we love today, like, not even close. They first had Superman as a bald telepathic villain bent on world domination. The character first appeared in The Reign of Superman, a short story from science fiction The Advance Guard of Future Civilization, issue 3, which was a fanzine published by Siegel in 1933. Siegel and Shuster decided to rewrite the character as a hero and reimagine him completely. They drew inspiration from heroes across myth and history, such as Samson, Hercules, Moses, and other modern heroic figures at the time like Doc Savage and Buck Rogers. As for Superman's outfit, Shuster and Siegel intended to make the character as colorful and distinctive as they could, drawing inspiration from outfits worn by space characters in pulp magazines, as well as traditional outfits worn by circus strongmen. So yes, what you're thinking is correct. The reason why Superman was designed with his underwear on the outside was because that's what strongmen wore at the time. So the design represented strength. It also became the design for almost every superhero thereafter. Like a lot of things that are very successful now, Superman wasn't at first. Siegel tried to sell the concept of the character many times, but publishers like Tip Top Comics rejected it, saying it was too fanciful and not what comic book readers wanted to read, let alone be interested in. And man, were they ever wrong. Pretty much the epitome of wrong. Mr. Siegel and Shuster were finally able to sell Superman to Detective Comics, later known as DC Comics. In June of 1938, Superman made his debut in Action Comics issue 1 and became known as the world's first superhero. Ever since then, he's become not only one of the most famous and iconic superheroes of all time, but also one of the most popular fictional characters ever. Superman's iconic title, Action Comics, recently just got a reboot, starting over at issue 1 last year, giving everyone a fresh modern take of the Man of Steel while still staying true to his roots. Which, one thing that got a lot of flack originally was DC getting rid of his red underwear, which don't get me wrong, I love the red underwear and it will always be the iconic Superman we all know and love, but I also love his new redesign. It looks so much more bamf and sleek. It's also what inspired the look in Zack Snyder's The Man of Steel movie. As for Superman's origin, I don't think I have to go through that, or at least get in depth with it. You guys just got his origin in The Man of Steel, which I'm sure most of you have seen already. And the core roots of his origin always stay the same. His home planet, Krypton, is gonna blow up, so his birth parents from Krypton send him to Earth in a spaceship in order to survive. Without being biased and just saying the truth, Superman is the epitome of a superhero. He's the first superhero in comic books and or American pop culture, and he stands for everything good and right in the world. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say, without his creation, we might not have superheroes today, or at least the way we've come to know them. Superman has gone through many changes over the years, his powers being no exception. Originally, Superman's powers were that he was incredibly strong, so he had super speed, could jump a mile, and his skin was bulletproof, but that was it. He wasn't able to fly, he didn't have X-ray vision, he didn't have any other powers. His other powers didn't come along till the 1940s radio show The Adventures of Superman, which played a big part in Superman's other abilities and powers. Superman's powers rely on his cell's ability to absorb and metabolize solar energy from local stars like the Earth's yellow sun. He can also absorb and get powers from blue sunlight, but he cannot absorb sunlight from a red star. His Kryptonian body is essentially a living solar battery that absorbs solar energies and converts them for fuel for his powers. His cells also store yellow sun energy, so he can use his powers under objects, at night, in dark places, or even in space. Superman has also been known to fly into the sun in order to reach his limitless potential. Some of you guys may be asking yourself, why doesn't his suit burn off? For the same reason in intense situations where he's caught in explosions or nuclear blast, where you think his cape or costume would be damaged, it isn't. Well, Superman produces an essence of energy or protective aura constantly around him, protecting his costume as it's extremely close to his body, though it's still not impossible to rip or damage his costume. As for the Man of Steel's alter ego, Clark Kent, he works at the Daily Planet, and his parents are Jonathan and Martha Kent, who found him as a boy when he crash-landed on Earth. Another thing people are always asking is how can people not tell that Clark Kent is Superman just by wearing glasses? Well, in the comics, it's explained by Clark Kent not only wearing glasses, but more importantly, changing his posture and mannerisms, as illustrated in the sketch by Frank Quitely from one of the most popular Superman stories of all time, All-Star Superman. He also changes his voice completely using his super muscle control. What's also really cool to note about Superman is the S shield on his chest and cape. Originally, it was just the logo that stood for Superman. Then in Superman the movie, they made it his family crest. And more recently, in Mark Waid's Superman Birthright storyline, he reimagined Superman's early years and made it an ancient Kryptonian symbol that stands for hope, which is actually the explanation they used for a symbol in the Man of Steel movie. Superman also has a plethora of great villains, which is why I never understood why in his movies they primarily always focused on Lex, when he has a bunch of awesome supervillains in his rogues gallery, such as Brainiac, Parasite, Mongol, Doomsday, Bizarro, Metallo, General Zod, who was awesome in the Man of Steel, Lobo, and Livewire, just naming off a few. But now that I've given you guys a bunch of info on Superman, you're probably wanting to know what are some good Superman stories from the comics to get your Superman fix. And as always, I got you guys covered. We have All-Star Superman, Superman Brainiac, Superman Birthright, Superman Earth 1 Volumes 1 and 2, The Death of Superman, The Return of Superman, Superman Secret Origin, Superman Last Son, Superman Red Son, Superman Batman Public Enemies, and Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Those are just a few to get your lovely faces started. If you're watching this show, chances are you are into creating your own art, but have you considered enhancing your skills and making a career in 3D animation? Full Sail's computer animation program was designed to prepare you for a career in this exciting field by expanding your abilities as an artist and learning the latest tools, applications, and design theory used to create 3D content for your different media. You'll not only be able to take your art in new directions, but also put your skills to work realizing and sometimes even improving the creative visions of others. On-campus students have access to Full Sail's Motion Capture Studio. In this facility, you'll learn how to run a professional motion capture session as you direct the action of performers wearing a sensor-monitored bodysuit, and use the data to create even more lifelike movements in your digital characters. All Full Sail students receive a laptop preloaded with industry software at a deep institutional discount. Full Sail University's computer animation program is available both online and on campus. To learn more about this and all of Full Sail's programs in the fields related to the entertainment and media industry, including art and design, filmmaking, recording arts, entertainment, business, and many more, visit fullsail.edu/variant. First up for Wednesday, June 26th, we have Guardians of the Galaxy issue 4. This is definitely a fun superhero team book and a great way to get familiar with the Guardians of the Galaxy for their upcoming movie next summer. Next, we have Deadpool issue 12. Concluding the second arc of Marvel Now's Deadpool, can Wade trust Hell to keep their side of his contract? Will all of Deadpool's new friends end up dead because of him? Up next is Batman The Dark Knight issue 21. The grand finale to the origin of the Mad Hatter is here, and Batman's quest for vengeance reaches its conclusion. Now we have Larfleeze issue 1. Larfleeze, the breakout character from Blackest Night, gets his own new series in the New 52. Definitely worth a look. Here we have Justice League of America issue 5. Reeling from the dramatic death following issue 4's cliffhanger, the world's most dangerous team discovers what the secret society is ultimately after and who they are. Now we have Batman Superman issue 1. Batman and Superman are finally teaming up again in their all-new ongoing title. Do not miss their first team-up series in the New 52. Next we have Wake issue 2. The first issue was great and already has me hooked. If you're a fan of sci-fi, monsters, and just fascinated by the ocean, this comic is written for you. And finally, we have Justice League issue 21. The march to the Trinity War continues, and this is it. Shazam's origin story concludes in an extra-sized extravaganza, as Black Adam threatens to gain control of all magic. Billy Batson learns that in order to stop him, he'll need help from the unlikeliest of people. But what greater role awaits Shazam in the larger DC universe, and what does the Justice League have to do with it? And that will bring another episode of Variant to a close. But if you just can't get enough of the show, be sure to like our Variant Facebook page to keep up with the show and all things comic related. You can also follow me on Twitter if you feel so inclined at twitter.com/Arris_Quiñones and leave comments down below on what you guys would like to see for future episodes. I always like to see your guys' opinions. But that is it, and I will see your lovely faces next week when I talk about all things comics. I lost, and I was just like, let's finish it. Let's just finish it. and converts them for fuel for his powers. His selbs. How come every time I start a word, I go into song and dance? But I can't dance to that because I'm sitting down, but I can do this. I can do this. You can't see what my legs are flailing right now.